I was making $1 million in a business that I had started just 2 years prior. And what do you know in 2 years? How long have you been in your business, Joe?
20 years.
Okay, what do you know in 2 years?
Not much.
Not much. But I was already making $1 million of passive income. And the reason is because I had a mentor and I executed the plan.
Welcome to another episode of Coffeez.
Yes, Joe, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so, Doran, as soon as I met you, I knew, we were going to hit it off. You're like already like an older brother to me. So I appreciate you coming on the show. I like to ask everybody this, and this is going to be something totally applicable to you because you really embrace this, is what is your morning routine?
That's a great question. Yes, my brother said this to me, master the morning, master the world. So I get up early, somewhere between 5:30, 6 o'clock, so not too early. As soon as I get out of bed, I have a 40-ounce bottle of water with all kind of stuff in it, from vitamin C, BCAAs, glutamine. I down that because we lose about a liter of water between the time we go to the bathroom in the night and we're sweating. So I hydrate right away. Then I go to 3 things that I'm grateful for. I go through my affirmations, and then I meditate. And then from there, I want to call it my biohacking therapies, or I'm in the gym. So that's basically how I start every single morning, like clockwork.
Do you do the gratitude journal you write down?
No, I do it audibly. Yeah, because I'm my learning modality. So we have 3 learning modalities, right? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Mine is audio. So I sit down with myself and I verbalize it. And I do it with my kids as well, too. What are they grateful for?
Nice.
It's a great way to start, man. It changes your whole biochemistry. Truly, it does.
It does. I did mine. I don't get to do it every day, but I write it down. There's a gratitude journal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are 3 things you're grateful for? What are 3 things that will make today great? And your affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
What was your 3 for the day?
My daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, my kids, and my lifestyle.
Nice. And then What was your affirmation?
My affirmations, I go through like an hour, believe it or not. I have a YouTube audio about who I am, what I am, forgiving myself, being the best person I can, good energy, being authentic, all these different things. And I go through that. And it's an hour, and I'll either do somewhere between 15 minutes of it all the way to an hour, depending on my time schedule.
Videos, just like some re-record?
It's I'm auditory, so I don't actually watch it, but I'm listening to it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm verbalizing it. Yes, I'm listening to it.
I got to get that affirmation video from you.
Yeah, I'll get it to you. Can I tell you what? It's super powerful. And it really does change your biochemistry.
Yeah. We should put it in the show notes for people to,
okay, yeah.
share it. Just like affirmations are important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this one, can I tell you what? And a lot of people do affirmations about wealth. And this has a small component of that, but it's more about who I'm being versus what I'm achieving. Because an interesting note is I had the good fortune to work with Jim Rohn. I don't know if you or your audience know about Jim Rohn. And I had a very, very close relationship with him. And he was an extraordinary mentor. And he always said to me, work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and your success will just be a byproduct of it. So I've really lived that for the past 30 years. Yeah.
And it shows, it shows. You said a quote before we started the show today. You become a better man. What was it? You become the best man. What was the quote you said?
I know. What was the quote? I know.
There's so many quotes. Seeing that, and I'm like, we got to share that with the audience.
I know. What was the quote we were talking about?
Was it your brother?
Shoot, I forgot. I forgot what it was. It'll come to me, though.
Yeah. Well, let's go back. Let's take it back to what was life like before the billions of dollars and the global stages, when it was just you and a dream and a spare bedroom.
That's a great question. So I grew up with 6 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, very poor in Los Angeles, so not in some third world country.
Which kind of was a third world country.
Yeah, I know. And my father, who was a role model, not a mentor, but was a role model to me. And he had a tremendous, relentless belief in his kids. And my father exposed us to a lot of different places that economically we really shouldn't be a part of. But, one of my other great mentors, Joseph McClendon and Tony Robbins, they said, once your mind expanded, it could never go back to its original size. So my father exposed us as kids to a lot of different things that we really, based on our economic situation, shouldn't have been exposed to. but it really expanded my imagination. So I grew up, like in high school when everyone was wearing jeans, I wore slacks and dress shoes, never wore jeans, never wore tennis shoes. And I was a different kid. I was an athlete. I wasn't the very best, so I'm thankful because I didn't peak too early. But I played first string sports and learned the value of having a coach, of having team, about camaraderie and collective winning. And so the reason why I say that is I grew up in the early years fantasizing and dreaming about wanting to have financial freedom and wealth. And so that has been in my DNA from the beginning. My father was an entrepreneur. I had some uncles and aunties that were entrepreneurs. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. So it was kind of more or less in my DNA because I was surrounded by that. And so since I started my first business when I was 22 years old. And I've only eat what you kill, okay, since I was 22. So I just knew that I was wired. I used to wear double-breasted jackets with ascots when I was like 22, 23 years old. I would go down to downtown LA and buy a suit for $200 that was like a European suit that was really fitted. So I always dressed really clean, classic, and, you know, like a lot of people dress for success. So even in my line of business as an entrepreneur, I wore a suit every single day. The majority of my career, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're like you refuse to ever wear.
Yeah, no. But I'm living on the beach, and you know I'm retired now, so it's a different lifestyle. But at the time, man, I was locked in and loaded and just wired to have success. Yeah.
Now, what was the first moment you felt the tide shift that maybe this wild vision that you had of being an entrepreneur could actually work?
Yeah, I would say that it was twofold. One of the messages I want to share with the audience is the value of mentors. Because I found a guy who said, listen, I'll teach you in 3 to 4 years how to walk away and build a passive income that'll pay you millions for the rest of your life. And at first, I was like, that sounds too good to be true. And it's so interesting. One of my mentors said, you know, the people who think things are too good to be true are always broke. And Robert Kiyosaki said in his book, you know, I've met many, many poor men who've never lost a penny, but I've never met a rich man who hasn't lost a dime. And so I learned that when you draw a line in the sand and you're looking at opportunities, to cross that line, cross that threshold, because the people who stay on this side of the metaphoric line, they never pursue something different. So they end up with the same life year after year after year because they're not taking that step of wanting to really achieve that success that they many times have been dreaming about or have been exposed to.
Yeah.
So when I met my first mentor, I had to change that paradigm and thought, okay, if I've got somebody who's willing to teach me and he's already doing it and he's willing to mentor me and take me under his wing, I'd be willing to do whatever it took. As long as they didn't ask me to compromise my morals or my ethics, I would do whatever he says to be able to build a business in 3 to 4 years and walk away with the passive income for the rest of my life. So that changed. I had a psychological shift, okay? And then when he started to mentor me, and by the time I started my first, or this business, my first bigger successful business, because I had early success, but by the time I was 30, I was making $1 million of passive income. And that was 30 years ago, so it was a lot more money back then.
Yeah, $1 million bucks 30
yeah.
years ago. It was like...
And it wasn't like, oh, I have assets of $1 million, but I have debt of $800,000, so I really got net worth of $200K, right? I had $1 million passive income, and I was making more money than I could spend. But one of the critical things for me is Jim Rohn taught me that it's about being, doing, and having. So a lot of people want to have success, but they don't want to do more, and the most important is they don't want to be more. And so I was taught from an early age, you got to become more, be more, do more, have more. And so when I made that shift, I started having success early. And then it's so interesting that, you know, growing up in Los Angeles, we have a lot of athletes here. We have a lot of business success, real estate success. You know, you have Hollywood, and you see these people who go from rags to riches to rags again because they didn't grow as a man or as a person. So it was really, really um, strongly encouraged for me to grow as a person. So I realized by the time I was 30, making so much money, that my income was growing faster than I was as a man. And I said, you know what? I got to get a bigger mentor. And that's actually when I met Tony Robbins and went to my first Tony Robbins event, which was life changing. He really is a savant. He's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I've had the good fortune to work with his teachings for almost 30 years.
Do you
Yeah.
still talk to him? Do you still work with him?
I still work with him. I don't talk to him on a regular basis because I'm more or less retired. But it's so interesting. He's got an event coming up in 2 weeks in LA, and I was actually going to go because it's about sharpening your sword, and I'm still slaying the dragon and enjoy that part of chasing success in business. Although I don't go to a job every day.
But you still work. You're still busy.
Yeah,
You're still
I stay
You're still-
busy. Yeah. Plus, I got 6 kids, man. I tell you, it's such a blessing to have that many kids. It's part of my legacy. We're going to talk a little bit about that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it sure is a blessing.
I remembered what the quote was kind of about. We were talking about health, and it's the importance of a healthy. You were saying a man that's healthy.
Oh, yes. Okay, I got the quote.
Yeah.
What I said was that, because there's a lot of people out there. I know a lot of wealthy people,
Yeah.
and they've squandered their health. And what I said was, an unhealthy man has one desire. A healthy man has many, many dreams.
Yes.
So that's what it was. He's got one dream when you're unhealthy. That's stay alive, man. And a healthy man's got many dreams.
Yeah.
And when I say man, I just want to be politically correct. It's human versus just the gender of a man. So men and women. Yeah.
Yeah. An unhealthy human has one dream. A healthy human has many
Yes,
dreams.
exactly.
I love that quote. I love
Yeah.
that quote, and it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if we're in the peak performance mental state, physical state, and a lot of the biohacking now isn't just physical state. It's a lot of biohacking your brain.
Oh, man.
Like all the things that are being released just for cognitive function,
Mm-hmm.
not just I want abs.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when I walked into the studio today, and I said to your team, I'm ready because I know show up ready, so I don't have to get ready. The only thing I do is I prep myself, and so what I did is I said, listen, I need just a few minutes to prep myself, and whether I'm going in to a meeting of 2 people, 5 people, or 40,000 people, I prep myself so that when I show up, I'm showing up and I'm ready, and I'm mentally, it's a mental preparation. And what I do is, for example, if we're in love and we have a piece of music that triggers us and we go, oh, we remember that when we were there and the music came on, or we'll go home, not everybody, but some people have that concept of they go home, they smell something, which is a trigger of mom's cooking or dad's cooking. So we have different triggers, Some of them are healthy and some of them are unhealthy triggers. But so what I do is I've prepared myself, okay, and I trigger myself so that by the time I'm showing up today, guess what? I'm in peak state, baby, ready to roll.
So what do you do to trigger yourself?
I talk about my objective, okay, who I am, the message, the impact, and I verbalize it. Yeah. And then I do something called a power move, because the fastest way to change your state of mind is to change your physiology. People don't realize that. Change your physiology, number 1. Number 2 is change your words, because your words are the light into your feet. So your words are very powerful. Like I'm looking at Big Joe right now. His lips aren't moving, but I know he's having a conversation in that head. And that's the person we listen to the most, which is ourselves. So we have to be very mindful of the conversation that we're having with ourselves. And so when I come and I'm about to do something like this, I use words that are going to empower me and make me who I am, which is a man of impact and transformation. And then I visualize it. I visualize what's going to happen, how it's going to impact people. So then I'm at peak state, but you don't want to show up like a crazy man. And so at the end, what I do is I center myself and I visualize roots coming from the tree trunks of my legs going all the way down into the universe of the world, of the earth. And I just show up and I'm peaceful, but under that peace is a lot of power, and it's controlled and directed power. And so that's how I manage my state before I show up.
Dude, that's crazy. Where can I learn that process? Because I'm about to do like 3 speaking engagements. I'd love to be rooted like that for
Oh
the
man,
podcast.
it's amazing. But you got to remember, I've been doing this for. I mean, this is my actually to be totally it's my first podcast,
Right.
but I've been doing this dynamic for a very long time. So I would say that
But
I'm
you've been doing it
comfortable.
on global stages.
Yeah,
And
all over the world, man.
yeah, all over
Yeah.
the world. Like now the world has changed. The world is now here.
Yeah, I know, I know.
You know,
I
the
know.
world is now in this room, and you don't have to be
Mhm.
so it's still the same.
The
like-
construct is the
Yeah,
same.
the
The
construct
the
is the
medium
same.
is different. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
construct is the same, so you still have to bring that same level of, mental refinement, that same level of being grounded, that same, and I'm always looking to get better. Like,
Yeah.
sharpening my sword is like my goal
Yeah.
every day. I know that I'm a man that's in perpetual growth mode, and I know that I'm a man that's really like failing all the time. So, I'm always trying to get better.
Oh yeah,
and-
man. This is great. This is what I call iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
Right? We take your experience, your talent, your skill. I throw mine into the pot, and it's iron sharpening iron, man. And that's how we can make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things, and I say this all the time on my podcast. Like, if nobody's listening to this podcast, and nobody has benefited, like I know that I benefited.
Yeah.
From the guests that
Yeah.
I get to hand select my guests, and they're all people like I've been wanting to meet you and sit down and have this conversation with you. It's like there's no better opportunity to do this. This is a one-on-one date. It's
Yeah.
like, that with a high, profile figure in society that I get free mentorship for now. It's like sitting with Jim Rohn for now.
Yeah.
How long can?
And thank you for the invitation. I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way.
So I'm gonna be impacted by this. I hope the audience is, and we're gonna continue to like impact others through this because we're gonna do tons of short clips and such to help others. So let's dive into your success because it came fast. But what was the one of the first major failures you had to survive on the climb up? Like one of the
Yeah, I
first
can tell you.
major ones.
So I mentioned that when I was 22, I started my first business. And by the time 6 months ended, I failed miserably. And then I started my second business, and I had moderate success, I would say. But the first one, we call it framing, okay? So you can take a picture and put a chrome frame around it or put a black frame around it or a gothic frame, and it changes what you see.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I learned from my great mentors is that we have a chance to reframe or frame different type of life events. And so I saw that as an investment into my future, okay, versus necessarily a failure to me. I didn't get my objective, but what I did do is I rehoned my desire of the type of lifestyle that I wanted. And I learned from an early age, and Jim taught me this, you got to design your life. And most people, Joe, they spend more time planning their vacation than they do their life. And what a tragedy that is. And so I had an opportunity to sit with myself and say, do I really want to have success? Do I really want to have that lifestyle? Do I really want to live on the ocean? Do I really want multiple houses? Do I really want to travel the world? Do I really want to leave a legacy for my children? Do I really want to become a man of impact and transformation? And it was a resounding yes. So, where focus goes, energy flows. And when you start asking those kind of questions, and if you ask more powerful, important questions or better questions, so to speak, you're going to get better answers.
Yeah.
And so I sat with myself and I went through this whole drill, and it was a resounding yes, 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 yes. Then it's a matter of, okay, what am I going to do? How I'm going to do it? Where I'm going to do it? And I started my second business, and then I started to have success there as well. And it was fascinating. So 22, I failed miserably in my first business. Yeah, that was my first time. And so I had to reinvent, recreate myself. Yeah.
What do you think on the way up? Like, what was your greatest successful business?
So I was on the distribution side of nutraceuticals, and I did it on a global basis. Was able to do billions of dollars in sales, and that was from operating a business, that was my greatest success. I walked away from that and retired. One of my objectives was to retire young and retire wealthy and financially free. And I walked away at 47 and said, and I have to tell you, I worked like a dog. I'm talking about a dog. Some people go, oh, you get lucky. I'd say I was fortunate to meet some great mentors, but you can have a mentor, but then you got to execute, right? So I knew the value from playing sports of having a coach or a mentor. And man, I held on to that with my dear life, and it had a profound impact on the trajectory because, as one of my great mentors said, is success leaves clues, and so I saw all these different clues, and then it was a matter of me not even necessarily understanding it, because can I tell you, I was making $1 million in a business that I had started just 2 years prior. And what do you know in 2 years? How long have you been in your business, Joe?
20 years.
Okay, what do you know in 2 years?
Not much.
Not much. But I was already making $1 million of passive income. And the reason is because I had a mentor and I executed the plan. I didn't even understand how I was doing it. He was like, okay, you know how like when you have kids and there's color by numbers? And as adults, we can see it's a giraffe. Yeah. The kids can't see it. We just want them to go from 1 to 2 to 3. And that was the beginning of my success. That's why I'm excited to be here with your listeners. They don't have to understand everything. But if you find a mentor or you use guys like Joe and the rest of your guests, okay, as mentors or people who inspire you, and they're going to give you a roadmap, because people who are successful, we are more similar than we are different. Okay. Now, there's the Elon Musk of the world, which are the anomalies and the savants. Okay. And they're just at a whole different level. But I'm just about the general population that are in the 1%. We're more successful. I mean, we're more similar than we are different. So what I want to encourage your listening audience to do is to be strong on the execution. And you won't have to understand it all, because it just took time. It was 4 or 5 years before I really started to understand why I was successful, but I was already making millions of dollars by that time. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It was exciting.
You said something profound. Like, I never really thought of this, but this is why success kind of attracts success. And, it's like we are so similar because we're kind of going through the same struggles,
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have similar struggles, similar fashion, similar interests, our kids met at
Jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
I actually started doing some jiu-jitsu myself with the kids, and many of the same pathways,
Yeah.
right? But I find that because I start to attend masterminds, and I'll introduce you to some of the groups. But like a lot of us are very similar, going through the same struggles.
You know why that is? It's very simple. People like themselves, or people that they want to be like.
Yeah.
And so it's we have a certain thought process, which, without being too woo-woo, I'm a fond believer in Einstein, and everything is energy. Yeah. So our thoughts, our words, I saw that, are energy. And energy create a vibration, and like attracts like. And so it's no something so hard to digest where we go, why is that? It doesn't make sense, but it really does make sense, because people like themselves, or people they want to be like, because our energetic vibration is more similar than different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our energetic vibration is on the same wavelength.
Yeah, exactly.
So and there's not a lot of people like us.
No, we're the few, man.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. They exist, and they find each other, but it's not like I can walk out this room that we got 80 people on staff here, and this the frequency is not the same. Like with you and I, and you'll meet my business partners, kind of similar frequency. It is a similar frequency as well, mm-hmm. but that it's not a common trait.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, it's amazing because America is the greatest country, without being too ideology driven about how great America is. But I mean, if you think about it, China and Japan, which are the second and third largest economies in the world, China's been almost 3,500 years. Japan's 2,800 years. In America, which is the biggest economy in the world, we're 250 years old, man. So that's because we think different. But part of the challenge is that also, I think our academic system perpetuates mediocrity. And when you grow up in that environment of mediocrity, that's just how you think. And it is a few people who got exposed to and really started to believe the opportunity where they can truly become whatever they imagine.
Yeah.
You know, and as my mentor said, your imagination is the greatest tool you possess.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't use it.
They don't
You know?
imagine.
No, they don't.
And you know, one of the things for me is like I've just been a dreamer my whole life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just a dreamer since I was a kid. People thought I was crazy. People
Yeah.
still think I'm crazy.
I know.
You know?
And I'm exactly the same. I've been a dreamer my whole life,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
and still am. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny that you know, here we are. You still dreaming. Like I didn't expect the podcast to be big. I didn't expect this company this big. I didn't expect to be this influencer. I didn't expect to be this best-selling author. I didn't expect to be speaking on stages, and none of this was like I just dreamt it all. You know?
Yeah.
It's like manifestation.
You know, it's so interesting. I had the good fortune to build a castle, so to speak, in Southern California, and I was sitting with a senior VP of a multi-billion-dollar national company, and we were sitting in the backyard, overlooking the golf course and the ocean and the harbor, and he was looking at this place. It was 18,000 square feet, and he goes, God, I bet you never imagined this. And then he paused. And I went, are you serious? And he goes, I cannot believe I made such a faux pas. Because I said to him, the reason why I'm here is because I'm a dreamer, and this was my imagination. You know, because I was dreaming about this place and about this lifestyle. And I'm an ocean sign, so I was always drawn to the water. And so I had the good fortune to build a house overlooking the ocean. And back to your point, it was all about the dream, to seeing what was possible, you know, before it was possible. And we got to manifest that in our mind. I'm an absolute manifester. And can I tell you what? I've been manifesting my whole life.
You designed your life. So
Yes.
Explain to us the process of designing your life.
Okay.
You've designed pretty much a perfect life that, you know, and we talked about this earlier. Like, yeah, we've had some hurdles. There's only one real hiccup, you know.
Yeah, right. I know.
Other than
I
that,
know,
it's like
I
pretty
know.
perfect, you know. But it's all good. You
Yeah.
know, like it's all good.
To oversimplify it, it's really just about fantasizing and dreaming about. And I want to say this: I've evolved to, you know, I live an extraordinary quality of life. There's no doubt about that. But I've evolved to mastering the art. And for those of you who are listening and you're listening intently, you want to write this down: is the art of living a fulfilled life. So manifestation, more or less, is that if you could dream it, if you can visualize it, and you get emotionally attached to that, you can be and do and have everything that's possible. The difference is there's a lot of people who have manifested things in their life, but the component, Joe, that they forgot is to be fulfilled. And if you're having what people on the outside are looking at like success, but you're inside not fulfilled, then I consider you a failure. Okay? So going back to your question about manifestation, it's a couple things. First of all, people who write things down, there's no secret there. Most people who are successful, they write it down. Okay? So writing down your goals, your dreams, your desires, anything and everything that you can possibly imagine. Okay? A lot of people do that. Okay? And when I say a lot, I'm talking about a lot of the 2% or the 10% people in the world. Okay? The thing that people miss is what they don't do is they don't get emotionally, and I want you guys to write this down, they don't get emotionally attached, okay, to that goal, dream, and desire. And what I mean by that is someone goes, okay, I want to buy a home. That's the American dream, okay? People want to buy a home. That's a great objective. It's a great goal. The thing that they need to do beyond that is, how is it going to make me feel, okay, to be a homeowner? How is it going to make me feel to know that, you know, I own a piece of the American dream, which is real estate, home ownership? How does it feel that that's going to be my garden or my grass, or that's going to be my man cave, or that's going to be for a woman my beautiful closet, or the area for my kids to play, and or a study, or, entertainment room, or like when I built my house and I had sauna, and I had a movie theater, I had a wine cellar, and I had all these things, and I had a urinal because I'm a dude, and I had 3 sons. I had a urinal in my house. 'Cause, we go to the bathroom, right? So how's it going to make me feel? And to get really, really emotionally attached to the feeling, not just the accomplishment. Because when you get emotionally attached to the feeling, it's called emotion. And the root word of emotion is motion.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing that people don't understand. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Okay, Joe? And your listening audience. No trick questions, just answer first thing off as you think of, okay? You feel hungry, what do you do, Joe?
Eat.
Okay, you feel like going to the gym, what do you do?
Work out.
You feel like going for a run, what do you do?
Go run.
You feel like sleeping, what do you do?
Sleep.
Okay, so what comes first, the feeling or the action? Remember, you feel hungry, then you eat.
Yes,
you feel like running, so you run. You feel like sleeping, so you sleep. So what, and this is the thing people miss, so what comes first is the feeling.
Yeah, and I just slipped past.
No, I know. It's okay. It's very common. So it's the feeling, and then based on how you feel, then you do something. You do the action, and then based on your action, you get a result, and the result gives you a quality of life. So what people don't realize is probably the most important message that I can give your listening audience today is a couple things, but one of the most important things I would say is learn the art of managing your state of mind. Because when you're in a good state of mind, you do good things. When you feel shitty, or you feel terrible, or you feel tired, or you feel anxious, or you feel overwhelmed, think about the decisions that you're making in those states.
Yeah.
But when you're feeling in your peak state, you're feeling energetic, you're feeling grateful, you're feeling thankful, think about the decisions that you make and the actions you take, and then the results. People manage their money, they manage their time, they manage their household, but the one most important thing that they don't manage is they don't manage their state of mind. And what's been magnified so much so is post-pandemic, that you're seeing all these people at different levels, from Olympic athletes to regular everyday Joes, who have mental health issues because they're not managing their state of mind. They're a product of their environment. Instead of impacting their environment, they're letting their environment impact them. So like when I did my pre-warm-up, as we talked about earlier before I came to the mic, that's all about managing my state of mind, so that when I'm having conversations with you and with your listening audience, man, I am on it. And so I want to encourage your listeners to learn the art of managing your state of mind.
What are 3 practical steps that you can implement to manage your state of mind?
Okay, so that's a great question. So number 1 is you can manage your state of mind by choosing. So 3 things that manages your state, okay? And for you guys, again, I would encourage you to write it down. Number 1 is your physiology. So think about this. If you're sitting down and you're slumped over, okay, and you're breathing heavy, okay, your neck is dropped, what's your feeling?
Tired,
groggy. Lethargic, groggy, okay? The difference is, imagine if you're standing up straight, right? You got your chest out, you're taking a deep breath, you're smiling, okay? Your arms are back, your shoulders are up, and guess what? You're feeling like, I'm confident, okay? And so the first thing that you can do is to manage your state is to change your physiology. It's always your physiology first. For example, people are sick. You're in bed for 2 or 3 days. They go, you know what? I'm just tired of being in bed. I'm going to finally go take a shower. They go take a shower, and what happens? They're like, oh, shit, I feel better. The sickness hasn't changed, but what's changed is their physiology, okay? If you're a woman and you're walking into a room and you know there's 20 guys in that room and you know that all eyes on you, think about how you're going to walk, okay? You're not going to walk slouched over. You're going to walk in there confident, projecting, your beauty, whether it's inside or outside. It's all about your physiology.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at, like, for example, Olympians who are going to do track and field, what do? They just don't show up and just do a high jump. Man, they're visualizing, they're managing their state, right? They're having words like, I've done this, I'm visualizing, I'm doing it. So the first thing you do to manage your state is to manage your physiology. It's the thing that happens the quickest. The second thing is you got to pay attention to your words, okay? Like my words are, I'm a man of impact, okay, and transformation. I'm a servant leader, okay? So I know that I can impact and inspire and activate people. So these are all things when I'm managing my state, okay? I think about I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm grateful. And when you use these words, they change yourself biochemically. People don't realize you literally can change your chemistry by changing your words, because everything is energy and we're impacting ourselves on a cellular level. And then the third thing to manage your state is what you visualize. You see people go, I just can't imagine me ever having success like that. Why would I invest in that? Why would I do that business? What if I do that business and I don't make money? Or they go, what if I do that business and then I make more money, but then I got to pay more taxes? I mean, how insane is that? Listen, I'd rather pay more taxes because I'm making more money than living just over broke, right? So what you visualize, the words that you tell yourself, and your physiology all manage your state of mind. And then there, you manage your state, you're in a much better place, you're in a grateful place, and you make better decisions, better action, better results, better quality of life.
That's great. Great feedback. I got a couple last questions for you, okay? Now, philanthropy is a big part of your life.
Yes.
What's the personal story behind the schools you build?
So I grew up in a very benevolent family. And my grandmother, my father's side, was the impetus of that. And we helped everybody. And everybody was welcome. My grandmother, she would cook, and she's from the South, Louisiana, in New Orleans, and she would cook in these big vats. And we had friends and family that we thought were family that ended up, as we got older, not. And so we just learned to help people. I grew up with two first cousins that were adopted, who also adopted. I adopted a child as well because I wanted to help. And so, when you think about these institutions, Harvard, Yale, Brown, or these big companies, it started with an idea or a concept. And so as I started to grow my wealth, one of the things I wanted to do is my mission in life, which I would encourage people to sit down and write, is to be a man of impact and transformation. So I believe that education is the way up and out of poverty. And so I had the good fortune to be traveling the world and saw there was an opportunity to build an institution. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna start and build my first school. And so I did that, and it bears my name. Yeah. So I'm very, very grateful. It's in Thailand.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It was just an amazing experience to be able to do that. I built something really unique, something special, very modern. The technology, the architecture is all modern, so that I said, when these kids go to school there, I want them to think, I have a unique opportunity that's different than all these other schools that are very Thai traditional architecture and stuff like that. So I decided to pull the trigger. And what's great is the previous king of Thailand was the longest reigning king in the world, 50 years, and he was beloved by his people. His son now is the king, and he's a bit of a playboy and a whole different bag of tricks. But anyways, so he has daughters who were responsible for perpetuating their wealth and their legacy. And so ironically, what had happened is I built a school, and then the princess of Thailand got wind of it. They bought some more land, and they started to build other structures around the school. So what started as my little dream has now expanded, and I feel very grateful that I had an opportunity to do that. And so I do that. And one of my other things I love to do is whenever I travel, I find the orphanages, because, as adults, we got choices, but as kids, many of them are in these orphanages because they didn't have a choice. And so I go to the orphanages and I bring them what they need, and I have a chance to do something like this, but on a very elementary level, to impact these kids, to try to change the way they think instead of being a victim, as an opportunity. And I love to do things like that and impact kids who are marginalized.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Now, I want to ask you, what's a personal goal that you have for yourself? A family goal you have for your family? and a business goal.
Okay, so personal goal. My personal goal is I'm single, okay, and my personal goal is to, and I've already done it in my mind's eye because it's my destiny, is to attract my person. Yeah, don't chase, but just attract. And that's a personal objective that I have because I really do have a magnificent life on so many different levels. And I'm single, and I really want to share that with somebody because I'm a bit of a romanticist person. And I love love, man. I love to be in love. I love the masculine and feminine energy. And, you know, society's trying to homogenize us, but it's the polarity between masculine energy and female energy that I think is just beautifully extraordinary. And so that I would say on a personal level. On a business level is I really believe that I can take my net worth up to $1 billion. Yeah, I'm very confident I can do that. You know, there's less than 3,000 of those people in the world who've achieved that, but I'm confident between now and the time that I pass away that I can hit that. So that would be my business goal. And then on a personal goal is, like we talked about, I'm a biohacker. And with all the technology that we have and supplements and the ability to have access to all these different technologies from here and around the world that are more available, where before it was only like medical grade things that hospitals or institutions or have access to.
Tech entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And as people mass produce these things, they're becoming more economically available.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate because I have resources. So I want to perpetuate my life, and I believe that I can hit 110, 120 years old. So that would be a
not just lifespan, health span.
But health, yes, living a healthy quality of life.
You can live 110 and still hit the gym.
Yeah. So some people think that's crazy, but you know,
you'll still be dating 60-year-olds.
Yeah. Shh, keep the secret. I know we can both connect to that, though. But you know, in fairness, we're wired that way.
Yeah.
People don't realize it. Listen, you could change us, try to change us as much as you can. But the best person that we can be, and I want to encourage your listening audience, is to be our true and authentic self. And it's an objective that I have every day, because we have all these indoctrinations from religion to our family to our society to our schools. Yeah. And but to just be true and authentic, man, because when you can really be who you are to your core, it's beautiful.
And I'm working on authenticism just because I'm caught up in the rut of social media and this front and the CEO front and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So it's I got more thrown at me than you do.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd have to agree with that. But I want to encourage you and the listening audience, you know, especially with social media, there's a great opportunity for social media, as we all know. The challenge is that you get a glimpse of a moment for a lot of people of what their life is portrayed to be. But then in many of those people, it's so very different. And you get these people who are like, oh, I want to be this person. I want to be that person. And there's so many different people that they want to be. They lose focus on who they truly are and how to enhance ourselves and who we are to our core. And I think that's missing. But it's incumbent upon us who are, you know, leaders in our communities to impact those people and put it in perspective to make sure people are living their true and authentic self. I said, by the way, in closing, about two things that I want to impart to your audience. One was to manage their state of mind. And the other one is to use your imagination, because it is the most powerful tool we possess. And Joe, you and I have kids. Those kids aren't educated because they're so small. I mean, they're limited in their education. They don't have a job. They don't have resources. They don't have a credit card. But you know what they have? They have a relentless pursuit to go, you know, Papa, can I have a bicycle? And you go, oh, no, not yet. Or the girl goes, can I have a dress, or whatever the case may be? And they put it on their phone. They put it on their iPad. They stick it on their wall. They're looking at it every day. They're seeing other kids achieve those things, having bicycles and phones and all those different things. They get emotionally attached to how it's going to make them feel to have that new bicycle, that new skateboard, or to have that dress, or to have that hairpiece, or those tennis shoes, or shoes, or whatever the case may be. And they are relentless. And then, as we know, kids learn this word, and when you say no, they say, Well, why? Because in their little minds, they see other kids achieve it, and that's called social proof. So in their mind's eye, if those other kids can have it or do it or achieve it, they can. And so they're relentless in today, tomorrow, the next day to go, Daddy, I want it, or Papa, I want it, or Mommy, I want it, or Mom, I want it. And they're relentless. And before you know it, guess what's sitting in their bedroom or in the garage? The new bike, the dress, the shoes. And because they're relentless and they have a belief and they're emotionally attached to, they can do that, achieve that, or go there. But as adults, what happens is that, unfortunately, some of a reality of life gets involved. And it's the story of a frog where they take a frog, they put it in a pot with like 2 inches of water, and the frog's in there. They put the lid on there, and the frogs, they put it on heat, and the water starts to get hot. And guess what happens? The frog starts jumping and is hitting the lid. And eventually what happens is that somebody's turning that thing on high, and the frog has given up their hope, okay, to escape and to jump out of the pot, and the frog burns to death. Okay, so what happens to a lot of people in life as we get older is that we hit some difficulties. You ask about some challenges, and people start losing the resolve, okay, to continue down that path of success and that desire. And it's so interesting. I was listening to Elon Musk, and he was talking about, they just had this successful launch of the Falcon 10, and he was talking about they failed the first time. He was trying to get engineers to hire. And he goes, I couldn't find any engineers. So I became the lead engineer. And not because I couldn't find any engineers. I couldn't find any engineers who believed in the vision that he had, because they thought it was so wild and it was so dangerous. And it failed the first time. It failed the second time. It failed the third time. And now the fourth time they had success. And so I want to encourage your listeners to get a vision. Okay, whatever it is, get a vision. Or goals or dreams. Get emotionally attached to it and get hyper-focused on it, and just be relentless. And whatever you guys can think and achieve, and think or dream, you can achieve. I mean, we're proof of that. Yeah. And not only us, there's enough of us where, again, it's social proof. If they can do it, the listeners need to be walking away going, I can too.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
When you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's going to tell you?
He's going to say, well done, my good and faithful soldier, for sure. Yeah. I'm not a perfect man, and I don't claim that to be my claim to fame, but I am a good man. And that's the best person I can be, is be a good man. And so when I walk away and I'm sitting at those pearly gates, I know he'll say, well done, my good and faithful servant. You were a good man.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do, baby. Yeah.
And we're trying to be just good men.
Yes.
Even though we fall all the time.
Yeah. It's part of the journey, though, right?
Yeah. Hey, if people want to connect with you, and I know you're hard because you've been retired for a while, how can they connect with you?
My Instagram is my name, Doran Andry. So Doran Andry, Andry. And they can connect to me there. Or I'm on TikTok, but I use it just for information because it's small bits of powerful information, but I don't post on it. So probably Instagram.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Doran. Thanks for jumping on the show. You've been a pleasure. Make sure to check out Doran. I hope you hit all your goals. God bless you. And your
Thanks
family.
a lot, and thank you for allowing me to serve you and your listening audience.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Boom. Doran Andry, let's go.